Today we are going to look at some curriculum, and this is one of my favorite things to do on here. I really just love diving into curriculum to seeing what it's all about. And I think sometimes when we're trying to decide if a curriculum is right for us, you just want to open it up and look inside. Because of that, I find videos like this so helpful because it allows me to see what's inside the text and if it would be a good fit for my family. So that is always my hope when I share this with you. In the midst of all that, I'm going to be sharing our experience. We're going to be taking a look at BJU Math today, and I'm going to share Math 1 and Math 3 and a little bit about how we use it. In another video, I'm actually going to share with you Math 6 because we started that as well, and I can kind of give you my first impressions on that and how that works for us. So keep an eye out for that video as well. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Jamie. This is Simply Learning Together. I have 4 children. Their ages right now are 11, 9, 6, and 4. We have been on quite the math journey trying to figure out a good fit for our family. There was a period where I kept thinking, am I going to change math every single year? And it got a little frustrating, but I finally feel like I have found the right fit. And I'm really excited to say that. If you want to hear more about all the stuff that we've tried in our experience, I have a video on that and I can link it for you here. BJU we have used for 2 to 3 years now. So I worked in Math 4, I've worked in Math 5 all the way through, and then now we just started Math 6. And then just recently we started Math 1 and Math 3, which we're going to take a look at today. So just sharing my personal experience and why I like it. BJU is the math is set up like a traditional math textbook. And for some reason, that brings me comfort. Maybe because it's what I'm used to. It's similar to something I grew up with. It's honestly similar to something that I taught in a classroom a while back. Now, some people that might be a big turnoff. And if that is for you, then this might not be the best fit for you. But the more comfortable you are with the math curriculum, the more you're going to like it. And so when you can find a good fit like that, you just go for it. I have loved it because almost every curriculum that we've had before, there's always something I feel like I need to add. Like I need to add a hands-on aspect, or I need to add more practice. I've never felt that with BJU. There are definitely things that I feel like we don't need. There's extra things, or I'm manipulating it to make it fit for us, but I'm never looking out for something else. And that's kind of the first time I've experienced that with math. One thing I want to mention is that BJU offers a math kit, and it comes with all kinds of things, including a textbook, teacher edition, and more. For Math 1 and Math 3, I only have the work text. That's just a personal choice. If you felt like you really wanted more guidance with the teacher edition or even more practice problems, I would look into the kit. The kit comes with a textbook and a review book. And the review book has even more practice problems, plus it spirals on the back side of the page. Then you'll also get the teacher edition. Sometimes they have manipulatives. So that's something to consider. It is a lot more expensive than just buying the textbook. Personally, I feel like at Math 1 and even Math 3, I feel pretty comfortable doing the problems myself, so I did not get any of that. There's been a couple of times where I thought to myself, I bet you in the teacher edition there's like a story to read or something, but it's not anything that's life or death, like we can just move forward. So I'm only going to be showing you the work text. If you're interested in kind of seeing all the pieces, then I suggest waiting either for my 6th grade one that's coming here in a bit, or if you go back when we first started BJU with the whole kit, that was the 5th grade level. And I share how we use the multiple textbooks together in a lesson. And I actually really enjoy it when you get to those higher levels. So definitely check out that video as well. Let's start with Math 1. Now, we started this a couple of months at the end of the school year. So we've already worked through it, and we're taking a break for summer, and we'll just pick up where we left off. I will let you know that the very first 2 chapters was like kindergarten all over again. and we had just completed it. And so honestly, we skipped them all. I believe the first time we sat down, we probably went through like 20 pages. And I think as homeschoolers, we have the freedom to do that. You know, why am I going to sit there and make her trace the number 6 over and over again when we just spent a year tracing numbers in kindergarten, you know? And then if one page is on shapes, I don't need to see her doing the shapes again. Like, let's move forward. And it's going to frustrate her too if she knows how to do it. So I basically went through the pages, and whenever I saw something, I thought, does she know that? Is she familiar? We would just try it, that one section. And if she could show me that she did, then we moved on. And that's how we did the first 2 chapters. Even I think chapter 3, it made us go through it really quick at the beginning. A lot of times textbooks are filled with review at the front. So if you're comfortable doing something like that, I think it can be really helpful to make sure that you're going at the pace of your child, and also kind of jump a little bit and not have to spend so many days in the lessons. My experience so far with First is that it has been just the right amount of work. When you look through it, you're going to see that the pictures are really cute. This math in particular has this little character. It's a duck named DQ, and you'll see it throughout the text. And so it's fun to look at, and it's colorful, just really organized. The one negative thing that we've experienced with this is the fact that this text, when you're working through it, it kind of, you know, when you have a textbook like this, when we get to this back page, you know, it's frustrating for a 6-year-old to write like that. And so I will admit that we started tearing out the pages, and that has helped. I mean, that's an easy solution. I think I've seen some people take the binding off and put some spiral on it, but we just take out the pages, and I don't save the math work, I save the chapter reviews. So then once it's done, I just get rid of it. So when you see, when I open this up for you, I am missing the first like 50 pages, 60 pages. But don't let that stress you about seeing the whole book, because I can promise you chapter 1, chapter 2, and even chapter 3 is basically just kindergarten again. And then you get into chapter 4. I'm going to start you at chapter 5 with subtraction. So 4 might have been addition facts. So anyway, let's open this up so you can see exactly what this looks like. I have to jump in really quick and interrupt this video because I just realized that I filmed this entire thing with these dead bugs in the background. So instead of redoing everything, I'm going to tell you about something really cool, because this is real life, people. This right here is a fly trap sticker. Flies are insane right now at my house. We kind of live out in the country a little bit, and there are animals everywhere and flies everywhere in my home. And if you get these stickers, I get them on Amazon. I will link them here. They work. You find that window that those flies are trying to get out of, and you stick it right there in the corner. And I tell you what, those bugs are going to stick to it and die. And then you can eliminate them from your house. So I am sorry that you have to look at those dead bugs throughout this video, but you know, you learn something that really works well in the process. Let's keep going. This is Math 1. This is the work text, and it's the 5th edition. They do still have the previous edition, I believe, on their website. This one in particular has a picture of a soccer game on it. And the very first full chapter I have to show you is chapter 5. So if you saw the beginning of the video, I mentioned that we ripped these out. So if you want to go back to that, you can hear why we did that. So I'll talk you through one chapter, and then I'll just do a flip for you. So each chapter starts with this cute little page, and it has some type of question and activity. We usually skip that unless she asks about it. Then it comes to the lesson. The very first page gives you practice problems to introduce the skill. And then if you flip over to the other side, then there's more practice problems to do the same thing that you were just doing. And then at the very bottom, there's always a little section of review. So if we look at the next page, you can see we're doing related subtraction facts with these block pictures. And then if we turn the page, there's an opportunity to practice it again and a little bit of the review. So the way that we usually schedule out our lesson when I sit down with her is we work through this front page all together. Sometimes she's able to do it on her own. Sometimes I do some, she does the others. It's just however the lesson flows. And then by the time we flip to the back, I try to let her be a lot more independent. The next thing that comes at the end of the chapter is the chapter review test, which you can see I ripped out. Okay, so I pulled it out for you. I'd already filed it away. So here is the chapter review test, and it's going to go everything that you just covered in the previous 5 or 6 lessons. So here's the front side, and then we have the back side. After the chapter review test, then there's a cumulative review test. So far, I have not used these cumulative review tests, but if you wanted some review throughout your lessons, you could definitely do that. And then you'll get to the next chapter. So you can see we start here, lesson, and then more practice, okay? So I'm gonna just now flip so you can get a view of what the different chapters are and kind of peek into what the lessons are. I did go back in my files and realized I'd saved a couple of things. You note here, you can see we skipped chapters 1 and 2. It was just a lot of review. This is an example from chapter 3. And then this right here is the test from chapter 4, if you're just interested in seeing what that chapter was about. There seems to be a focus on coding in this textbook, where there is just a simple activity front and back. So here's one of them. Then a few chapters later, here's another, front and back. And then another few chapters later, and here's another activity. So this is all throughout the textbook. Another thing to point out in the first grade level is there's really nothing in the lesson that is teaching. Does that make sense? So it's just automatically practice problems. So if you aren't comfortable just opening it up and looking at the pictures and say, oh, we're doing subtraction, if you would like more guidance with like an object lesson or using manipulatives to introduce something like this, then the teacher guide might be a better choice for you. But if you're okay with just kind of opening up and doing the practice, then that's there for you. Okay, now we're going to take a look at Math 3. This Math 3 is something that I am debating on doing with one of my children. She currently does an online math, which is a really great fit for her, but I missed the paper and pencil. And so every so often I've been pulling this out and working with her just to get some one-on-one time and see what she's capable of. Even though I'm going from first to third, there's not big differences. You're definitely going to get more problems. You're going to get harder content. But I will also say that in a lot of the lessons, they have these teachable boxes, and you'll see it when we open it up. where you can kind of see what are we doing, here's the example, and then you go on to the practice. All right, so let's take a look at Math 3. Once again, this is just the work text, and this particular book is the 4th edition, which I believe is the newest edition they have for this level. So the very first thing I want to show you is just a full chapter. So I'm going to start with chapter 3 and then I'll go back. So as you can see, the lesson is taught in the first page. Sometimes there's this little box here, which is great for instructions on how to do the skill and some examples to do. Then you have practice here for that skill. And then if you flip it over to the back, you've got more practice and review. So I set this up the same way I do with the first grade book. We work through this and I do these together with her, trying to see if she can start to do them independently. And then she tries to complete this backside independently. I do not always make her do all of these problems. I don't think it's necessary, especially if I can see that she can do it well. So a lot of times I focus on maybe just evens, and then the odds are there if we need them. And then there's the review at the bottom. So if we continue with this chapter, we can see the remaining lessons. And then we have a chapter review. Just like in the first grade textbook, there is some sort of focus between each chapter. This focus, it says serve with math. There's usually a story about math and people, math in the home, math and work, some type of story to read together. And then on the back side, there are story problems to apply that information to math. So we usually skip those unless she asks, but that is there at every chapter. So I will flip to the back. Some of it is completed by her because we've started on this already, but you will get a chance to see all of the chapters and some of the pages in between them. So you can see the chapters that we're expecting. There are 20 chapters, and you'll see the very last chapter is a review chapter, which I think is really helpful. Okay, let's flip through. Okay, so that's it for Math 1 and Math 3. Like I said, it's only the work text, but if you want to see kind of more what BJU is about, check out the other 2 videos I have. I have one where I share how we used it in the 5th grade, and I'll link that down here below. And then I've got one coming up about our 6th grade math with BJU.